A wide mix is not created by putting a stereo widener on every channel. Width works when the listener can feel a stable center and compare it with information at the edges. In this tutorial, I am using the Phantom Color production as a case study. The instrumental is an original, AI-assisted Sigma Media Corp project, and the narration is synthetic. The practical goal is to show a hierarchy you can use in any session. Low-frequency anchors stay centered. Supporting instruments receive intentional placement. High-frequency details can move, and every decision must survive mono. When all four rules work together, the mix feels larger without becoming hollow or unstable. Start with the sounds that define impact and pitch at the bottom of the mix. The kick and sub should usually occupy the center, especially below the region where small speakers begin to struggle. The main vocal also needs a predictable home. Snare weight and the core groove normally benefit from the same stability. This does not mean those tracks must be completely dry or narrow. It means their essential energy should not depend on a phase difference between left and right. If the mix loses its kick, bass note, vocal, or backbeat when summed to mono, the stereo effect is controlling the song instead of supporting it. Small pan decisions can create more useful width than a large global processor. In the case study session, hats sit slightly left, impact slightly right, chord stabs farther left, and the arpeggio farther right. Those are not magic numbers. The lesson is separation by role. When a short percussive sound and a sustained harmonic sound are given different positions, the brain reads a larger field. Because each offset is moderate, the arrangement still feels connected. Hard panning can be effective, but it should be chosen for a reason. Start with subtle placement, listen in context, and move farther only when the musical conversation becomes clearer. The safest place for obvious motion is usually in the upper and supporting layers. A glass key detail can use different delay values on the left and right. A digital texture can pulse with tempo synced tremolo. A counter lead can receive restrained chorus. These effects attract attention because their edges move, but they do not have to carry the track's physical foundation. Keep the sub dry and centered. Keep the kick transient coherent. If a bass sound needs apparent width, split the problem. Preserve the fundamental in mono and create width from a filtered upper layer. The listener hears size while the system still receives a reliable low-frequency signal. A correlation meter is useful, but it is not a target generator. A value near +1 means the channels are very similar. A value approaching 0 usually indicates more difference and therefore more apparent width. Persistent negative values warn that important information may cancel in mono. The Phantom Color reference measured about 0.8 correlation across the full arrangement, which is wide enough to feel spacious while remaining conservative. Do not chase a lower number because it looks impressive. Check the loudest chorus, the quietest verse, and exposed transitions. Then press the mono button and listen for disappearing notes, hollow drums, or a vocal that suddenly moves backward. The most robust stereo image often comes from arrangement, not processing. Put a pad in a different register from the chord stabs. Let a counter line answer the hook instead of duplicating it. Use a bright, short texture on one side and a darker sustained texture on the other. If you double a part, change the performance, voicing, or sound enough to create real difference. Copying one file, delaying a channel, and calling it stereo may produce width, but it can also create predictable cancellation. Independent musical information survives more playback systems because the left and right channels are related by composition rather than only by a timing trick. Here is a fast audit. First, solo the kick, sub, bass, lead vocal, and snare weight. Then listen in mono. Second, bypass every widener and modulation effect and note which ones actually improve the song. Third, compare the widest chorus with the sparsest verse at matched loudness. Fourth, reduce the monitoring level. If the center disappears when you listen quietly, the mix is depending too much on edge information. Fifth, inspect correlation during the exact moments that sound impressive. A meter that behaves well on average can still hide one destructive transition. Save and alternate mono bounce and check it on a phone before calling the mix finished. The width formula is anchor, place, move, and verify. Anchor the low end, lead vocal, and core groove. Place supporting parts so each role has a readable position. Move only the detail that benefits from animation. Verify the result in mono, at low volume, and with correlation as a warning light rather than a score. This approach is less dramatic than inserting one aggressive plugin, but it gives you a mix that translates. If this was useful, subscribe to Sigma Media Corp for more practical production breakdowns. The next case study explains why some chord presets sound out of tune even when the MIDI is perfectly correct.